Before we start the video, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, like, comment, and share with your friends. I really appreciate that and it helps me so much. Here we go. Rurouni Kenshin, also known as Samurai X, was a manga originally published in Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump from 1994 to 1999, with a total of 255 chapters or acts as well as an extra chapter. In this story, we follow the main character Kenshin Himura, a samurai with a very sad past that prompts him to change his ways and devote himself to protect others. The original manga consisted of 3 arcs: Tokyo, Kyoto, and Jinchu. There is also a 4th arc, the Hokkaido arc, that is currently serialized in Shueisha's Jump Square. The anime aired from 1996 to 1998, but only adapted the first 2 arcs of the manga. The last arc has a particular recurring theme across its 103 chapters: grief. And just to clarify, this video will cover events only from the original work and not its sequel, so in this video, we are going to analyze Rurouni Kenshin's last arc in the manga. When we are introduced to Kenshin, he's a calm, soft-spoken, polite, and very kind-hearted person. Kenshin will go as far as to put himself in danger for others if the situation calls for it. He is a person with a deep appreciation for life, always smiling and acting goofy to make everybody else feel at ease. This kindness is what leads him to find Kamiya Kaoru, Sagara Sanosuke, and Myojin Yahiko, with whom Kenshin develops friendships, except for Kaoru, who would eventually become his wife. But more on that later. Kenshin has a dark side as well. Years ago, he was known as Batosai, a ruthless horseman part of his persona that only emerges when Kenshin is in distress. During the Kyoto arc, Shishio Makoto presented Kenshin with his biggest battle yet. However, his biggest mental battle would be with his former brother-in-law, Yukishiro Enishi, battle that we don't see in the anime, as unfortunately the last arc of the manga wasn't adapted properly. And it's a big shame because it explains how the Kenshin that we know and love so far suppressed the Batosai persona, as well as show what really happened in Kenshin's past, a very tragic past, and one that literally marked Kenshin's life and prompted him to develop a mental illness. You see, Kenshin was once married to Yukishiro Tomoe. Tomoe originally was supposed to get revenge from Batosai because he killed her fiancé. Nonetheless, she fell in love with him and turned him into a man that cursed for humans. Eventually, they fell into a trap orchestrated by Kenshin's enemies. This ended with Tomoe being killed by Kenshin's hand. Struck by tragedy, Kenshin vowed to never ever kill again and started his life as a Rurouni. One day, Kenshin came across Kaoru, and what started as Kenshin just helping another citizen, just another person, she became the one person that can suppress his Batosai persona. Kenshin learned from Kaoru to let go of the past and finally found happiness with her. During the Jinchu arc, Enishi comes back to enact his plan of revenge against Kenshin for having killed Tomoe, so he tries to destroy Kenshin emotionally and physically. Emotionally by killing Kaoru, and he almost did. Enishi wanted Kenshin to feel all the pain and suffering that he did when he lost his sister, but Kaoru reminds Enishi so much of Tomoe that he can bring himself to kill her. Enishi even saves Kaoru from death once, and it's that resemblance that makes her relationship with Kenshin so interesting. Tomoe was one of the most influential persons in Kenshin's life. She initially acted as a spy for Kenshin's enemies, but during their fake marriage, they learned to care for each other. Kenshin considered Tomoe a very special person, and after her death, a guilt-filled Kenshin promised never to take another life again. A parallelism can be found later in the story with Kaoru. They both learned to love each other and started their relationship in an unusual way. Later in the story, when Kaoru was seemingly dead, Kenshin broke down completely. And if it wasn't for Yahiko being in trouble, then Kenshin probably would have become Batosai again. The big difference is that Kaoru, with her, Kenshin was successful in living in peace. And thanks to her, is that he was able to find closure for Tomoe. Kenshin finds in Kaoru a space that he really needs, a place where he can rest his mind and keep Batosai in check, while Tomoe was Kenshin's guide to find this safe space. Enishi held a true hatred for Kenshin, a hatred that fueled his desire for revenge. He became a huge arms dealer and had power enough to make Kyoto crumble to his feet. His mind was cracked by the horrific event of losing his sister, an insanity that he uses while fighting with the sword. He is the main antagonist of the Jinchu arc. When he came back to put his plan into motion, he met Kaoru and figured out how much he means to Kenshin, and after being defeated by him, Enishi saved Kaoru's life from his own henchmen. Kenshin asked him to stop his crusade and also thanked him for what he did for Kaoru, to which Enishi broke into tears as he admitted that he wanted to protect Tomoe and not Kaoru. After these events, Enishi visited his sister's grave and he left in hope to put his past behind him, much like Kenshin did. In my opinion, it's a shame that this arc was never adapted into the anime. It is necessary to understand why Kenshin decided to suppress Batosai, and it gives Kenshin a happy ending with closure about his past, a wife in Kaoru, a son, and a successor to his sword in Yahiko. I have to mention that parts of this arc were adapted into one of the OVAs, that by the way are extremely good, even though they are not considered canon. However, some events are changed and it goes into a really grim path. It is a very different take than the original manga ending. The Jinchu arc gave us the proper finale to Kenshin's story, one that he deserved. This was an arc with heavy implications of mental illness like PTSD, BPD, mania, depression, and also anger and grief. Sometimes we reflect ourselves in those characters and we relate to our own lives, and we see that works just like this. And that's why you should go and read Rurouni Kenshin's final manga arc. Thank you for watching.